Chapter 62. Leah. She moved at a sluggish pace, her feet dragging as she trudged forward. The sun's intense rays beat down on the pavement, creating an illusion of melted asphalt. Leah's vision blurred as she focused on the road ahead, desperately scanning for any sign of Ben's van. But it was gone, along with Adam. She chased after the van with every ounce of energy she had, until eventually her body gave out and she collapsed onto the pavement. Her sides screamed out with pain, and her legs refused to carry her any further. Eventually, she forced herself up and continued. A bridge appeared in the distance, and she trudged forward like a zombie, numb to the world around her, stumbling on the abandoned highway. The loud trills of birds in the nearby trees broke the facade that life, as Leah knew it, had stopped. It continued to go on, indifferent to her struggles. As she passed under the bridge, the sun vanished and took with it the oppressive heat, sending a wave of relief over her. She leaned against the side of the bridge, sliding down exhausted until she was sitting on the ground. A deep sigh escaped her lips as she felt the coarse rocks and pebbles pressing against her body. She didn't care. She felt nothing. A cool breeze rustled the loose strands of her damp hair, still pulled back in a ponytail. Without thought, she pushed the strands from her sunburned face and rested her head back against the cool surface of the bridge. Her skin felt sensitive and thin, just like her soul. She'd been walking for hours, and the sun was still high in the air. It was getting late, and here she was on a deserted highway, surrounded by nothingness. Nowhere nearer to Adam than when she last saw him, drugged, in the back seat of the van. She closed her eyes, feeling defeat seeping into her burnt flesh. She'd lost him, and it was her own fault. There was no way Leah was going to catch up with Ben like this. Besides, she would have no strength left to deal with getting Adam back if she forced her already degrading body forward. She needed help. Getting Adam back would not be easy, maybe impossible. Alone, she was almost sure to fail. With help, maybe there was a chance. Maybe. Either way, Leah needed to face the facts. She couldn't do it alone. She would need to return to Hayden and regroup. How would she manage that? How could she possibly go backwards from Adam? What would happen to him in the time between then and now? The very thought of giving up and going back was unthinkable. What kind of mother would she be if she just turned away from the path her son had gone? She pulled her bent legs up to her chest and buried her face in them, allowing the sobs trapped inside her to be free. She was doing Adam no good, stumbling, lost, along an empty highway in this stifling heat. She sighed, placing her hands on the gritty road. Trembling, she stood up on weak legs. Everything swarmed before her as she grasped the side of the bridge for support. She closed her eyes to steady herself, her mind set on a decision. She would turn back alone, without Adam. "I won't leave you, baby," she said through cracked lips, her tongue thick and coated from lack of water. "I'm coming to get you. I'm coming." She turned back from where she came, pushing one foot in front of the other, determined as ever to get Adam back. Time was lost. The road and the sky merged, creating a hazy blur, leaving her clueless about the hours or even the day. All she knew was to keep moving forward, and to not even think about stopping, because if she did, it would be over. The sun's heat still burned down, relentless in its pursuit of her, punishing Leah for not being more careful, for doing things she had no right to get involved with, and now she'd lost Adam. Her heart would not stop hurting. She thought she'd felt pain before. Her parents' death, Ben's disappointment as a husband and father, the destruction of the world she lived in. She thought she'd experienced it all, but none of it compared to this. This raw, feral thing inside her, squeezing the essence that was her out. It hurt just to move forward, and she wondered if she would survive. Dehydration and exhaustion had driven her to the brink of delirium as she trudged for hours under the unforgiving sun, consumed by sorrow. The blistering road seemed to sizzle under the intense heat, creating the illusion of rippling waves, making the horizon appear to waver like water in the air. A small, black object soared through the sky, jolting Leah back to reality. She snapped her head upwards, blinking, struggling to regain her focus and identify what was approaching her. A raven cawed loudly, breaking through the hazy fog in her mind, bringing her back to reality. Leah's parched lips parted as she weakly raised her hand towards the sky. The tune of Adam's favorite song from a movie about immigrant mice played on repeat in her thoughts. He used to sing it all the time, and knew the lyrics by heart. She struggled to sing, her voice cracking under the weight of thoughts about Adam being alone without her, frightened. The raven swooped down close, and she should have felt scared, but she didn't. She centered her focus on it, like it was a beacon of light guiding her way. Leah pressed her tongue against the dry roof of her mouth, searching for any trace of moisture. She moved it around, feeling the rough texture of her tongue against her chapped lips, and tried to make spit. Swallowing a few times, she kept her eyes on the bird as Adam's voice sung the song playing in her head. The raven, so close now she could see his eyes, turned, flying in the same direction she was going, just a few feet from her, and cawed out, like he was calling her to follow. Leah did, still rolling her tongue around, trying to make saliva. Her gaze followed the movements of the raven before landing on something else ahead. She couldn't believe what she was seeing, and her eyes narrowed in confusion as the song grew louder in her mind. Was the singing coming from ahead? She quickened her step, her mind focused on what she thought she was seeing far in front of her. A boy, not much older than Adam, stood in the distance. His long, light brown hair whipped in the wind as a raven circled above him, almost as if it was beckoning Leah to come closer to them both. The raven flapped his wings as the boy gestured towards her with his hand. Leah waved back, hearing the tinkling of his laughter burst into her ears, waking her up and clearing her mind. Everything became brighter and more alive, and her body surged with adrenaline as she tried to catch up to the boy with the raven, his light brown hair flowing around his tan face. "Who are you?" she asked, not sure if she'd said it out loud or in her head. The young boy stood on the edge of the road, his hand raised high in the air as he called out to her. He turned and followed the raven as it circled above them, the sky quickly darkening around them. She could hear the boy singing, his voice traveling across the air as the sky changed, letting go of the heat as the sun fell behind the horizon. Soon the moon would come, in the coolness of the night. Leah quickened her step, feeling her mouth fill with spit, and sang along with the boy and the raven ahead. "Somewhere out there, beneath the pale blue moon."